Premier League predictions, round 32.
Hello everybody and welcome back to Very Biased Opinions for another round of Premier League predictions. As Thomas just said, we are up to round 32, the business end of the season. Who knows which way the title's going to go? Well, we may find out this week. As always, we do put timestamps down in the description, so you can jump ahead to certain videos. You can also do that by using the chapters feature on the YouTube video itself. But I would never recommend it. Just stick through the whole thing because you're missing out on absolute bona fide quality. There you go. Seal of approval. And without wasting any more time, let's just jump into the first match.
Aston Villa versus Wolverhampton Wanderers.
Wolverhampton Wanderers, Thomas, what can you say about them? They are amazing once again, level on points with Man Utd, hunting down those Champions League spaces. But who gives them the credit? Who? Only me and you. That's who. We're the only two people in the whole world that give this Wolves side any credit whatsoever. They had a good win against West Ham, back that up with a decent win against Bournemouth. They'd probably felt they should have scored more goals in the game. But once again, the partnership, Traore and Jimenez, is proving to be pretty successful. I mean, this guy, Traore, has been amazing this year. The difference between him this year and last year has been staggering. Another fantastic cross, pinpointed, even though hit at 100 miles an hour, onto Jimenez's head. And I'll tell you what, that is not an easy finish. And he's made that look easy. There's a lot of strikers that would have been the old 50p head, and it would have bounced off all over the place. Really impressive from Jimenez once again. I mean, this guy is easily one of the best strikers in the Premier League. All the supporting characters played well as well, including Neto, who looks better every single week.
He's 20 years old. How have they? The team they've built is insane.
Yeah. Once again, the spirit, the most likable man in the whole of football. He's the sort of guy you wish would give you bad news, because you just couldn't stay mad at the guy. This is the Midlands derby. It's a big one, and Wolves have just been too strong, and I think they'll be too strong for this Villa side. I think it's going to be 2-0 Wolves.
We've seen this Villa side lose its first draw 2 of its 3 matches back, which is good for them. They've picked up a couple points, and the bottom of the table now could not be tighter if you wanted it to be. 19th point Villa on 27, Bournemouth in 18th, also on 27, West Ham in 17th, also on 27, and Watford in 16th on 28. I think Brighton have pulled away now. They are 6 points away from the drop zone, and they don't have half as brutal a run-in as some of these other teams.
Yeah. Obviously, just to say, we are filming this before Burnley have played Watford today, so that might change. But that's how it is as we are recording it now.
Yeah. Wolves obviously won the previous round of this match 2-1. Villa don't look like winning to me, but that took a great effort in the last match. They were largely, I would say, outplayed by Newcastle, not to some dominating extent, but they didn't look the better side. They didn't look like the side that deserved the points. They did a really good job to get a late goal. I don't know with this team. I don't know if I'm convinced they're going to stay up, and I definitely don't think they're good enough to beat this Wolves team, which, as we said, is challenging for Europe. They look absolutely incredible, Portugal United. And I think Aston Villa will get a goal, and I think it's going to be the exact same result, though, last time they played. I think it's going to be 2-1 to Wolves.
Watford versus Southampton.
This is a huge game for Watford, although every match is huge for them. They're just above the drop zone, as we said. I think they're 1 point clear of the 3 clubs on 27. And they've got Troy Deeney back, and I think that it might be what keeps them safe this year. That sort of player, I talked about it in the FA Cup predictions, I think, when I talked about the Thomas Mueller types, these players that don't let their teams lose. And Troy Deeney is the sort of player that will not let his team lose, and when they do, he's going to make his team and the other team fight tooth and nail for it to happen. Southampton have done a fantastic job. Ralph Hasenhüttl obviously has a new contract, and you'll talk about him. But they've got themselves pretty much safe this year. They're 10 points above this Watford side. And I really think Watford are going to make a game of this. And I think it's going to be a 1-1 draw, Ian.
Yeah, hard not to see a draw, isn't it? I mean, we talked just a little bit off camera. Of all the sides down the bottom, Watford do look like the side that have got the most fight in them. And the side that's got in a lot of that is Deeney and obviously Pearson. But also do have capable of winning games. This will be one they're looking at targeting to win in. There's not a lot else Southampton have to play for. Although this is a Southampton side that have been very good away from home, as much as what home and away matters at the moment when you're playing in empty stadiums. The away record is still really good. They back that up with a win against Norwich on the first game back. They will be playing Arsenal this evening, so good chance they might get 2 wins in a row, because Arsenal look a bit all over the place at the moment, have to be said. And this is probably where you're going to win predictions again, because I'm just going to go for a Southampton win. I think they'll nick it. I think it'll be Watford 1, Southampton 2. Thomas, we forgot to do it last week, but we must always be careful. And watch out! The Eagles are coming, because it's Crystal Palace versus Burnley.
Ian, now it's time to talk about the 3rd best club in London. That's right, Crystal Palace. Some of you may have thought I was going to say Chelsea or Arsenal or whatever, but no, they're all better. Arsenal, you are now the 4th club in this city. South London.
Who are 1 and 2? Brentford and Leyton Orient?
Harrogate Town? Is that the right place?
What are we talking about?
No, but Crystal Palace, the only club from South London in the Premier League, have been absolutely awesome. They have just been on the end of a hiding from Liverpool, but all that tells me is that Liverpool are back to their free-flowing best, and that break they had was great for them. It's an aberration result. Everyone gets beat by this Liverpool team. There's nothing wrong with it, and I don't think Palace will take this to heart in any way. I don't think Roy Hodgson will take this to heart in any way. They actually won this fixture 2-0 last time they played, and everybody at Palace in the one match I've watched, because I did not see the whole Liverpool game, nor do I need to when it's 4-0, but I saw Palace play Bournemouth, and they looked absolutely excellent. And as much as that's Bournemouth letting them play, it was players like Benteke using his physical strength and not letting anyone battle him off balls and flick it on. Zaha hasn't been at his best. We know that this season. We know that he's been a bit of a drain at times in the team, but everyone else is firing on full cylinders. Ayew got a really good goal. And I find it hard to look past this Palace team against Burnley. I like Burnley, but their opening match has not filled me with faith after what City did to them. It was an absolute mauling. They're playing Watford this evening. I haven't seen it yet. I'm going to have to go for a Palace win, and I'm going to go 2-1.
This is a heavily depleted Crystal Palace side. They didn't have Gaeta because he was injured. They didn't have Benteke because he was injured. I actually didn't know his name was Christian. I actually thought his name was Benteke.
Good.
So they don't have Teke because he's injured. Zaha went off early against Liverpool as well. So they're dropping like flies at Palace. Burnley, on the other hand, seem like they're getting their players back after the club wanted to absolutely... I don't know, stitch up, screw up, mess about the best manager they've ever had in their history in Sean Dyche by pissing around with the contracts of players. So he has to go to Manchester City the first game back, not have a full complement of players, have to play a load of youth players. And it was, it ended in a very, very embarrassing result for them. But that was not Sean Dyche's fault. It was the club. It does look like a lot of those contract decisions have been resolved. Key players like Heaton, like Bardsley, and probably most importantly, Ashley Barnes and Chris Wood should be back in the starting lineup now.
Jeff Hendricks left, hasn't he?
Hendricks is not going to sign, so it's likely he's not going to play, which is a blow for them. Along with like Lennon, which isn't too big of a deal, and Joe Hart, and we've said enough Joe Hart jokes. We don't need to go down that avenue. When he's got his back to the wall, it's almost like he's at his best as Sean Dyche when the world's against him. And I think that he feels that the world's against him a bit right now. And I think you're going to see a good Burnley performance here. And I actually think they're going to get a point. I think it's going to be a 1-1 draw.
Ian, this is the most disagreement we've had on results in ages. I love it. It makes me happy.
I want to just raise our level. To be a true tipster website, we need to disagree on everything. That's what we've been told. That's what we must do.
Because then we'll both get over 50%.
I'm not agreeing with that. Move on.
Arsenal versus Norwich City.
So, Ian Allen, the broken record, gets to talk about Norwich once again. What can you say about them? Yes, they look very, very good at times, and once again they conspired to lose again. Switched off from a corner, let Michael Keane score a header, and then just can't get back into the match. It's another defeat for Farke's side. It's amazing that they still are only 2 wins away from getting out of the relegation zone, which just shows you how poor the other sides have been more than anything else. But this might be one where they get something, but you have to pick Arsenal in this one. I know I'll be interested to see what you say because you never back Arsenal, but I have to back Arsenal in this one. It's same old Norwich, I'm afraid. I think it's going to be 3-1 to the Gunners.
Ian, as much as I really just want to rip this Arsenal team apart and talk about how it's going to be, I mean, the last time I think it was a 1-1 draw or a 2-2 draw, I cannot see this Norwich City side having any faith in their situation. It's quite possibly they'll be even further adrift by the time this match is played. Watford will have played. Villa will have played.
Norwich could be through to the Cup semi-finals after beating Man United.
Yeah, I'm going to need you to shut up and sit down. Again, I hate this Arsenal team, but they're too good to not beat this Norwich side. I can't see Norwich scoring. I don't think they have scored since play resumed, and I think that's going to continue. I think it's going to be Arsenal 2, Norwich 0.
Have Arsenal been watching episodes of The Simpsons where they keep letting Sideshow Bob out of prison and giving him one more chance?
What? Yeah, I'm sorry. How did this not come up initially? How has David Luiz been given a new contract? Is it...
AFC Bournemouth versus Newcastle United.
It's time to talk about my beloved Eddie Howe, my spirit animal, the mighty, mighty Bournemouth. Oh, good Jesus, am I worried. Oh, God. I mean, it doesn't look good for this team. Eddie Howe looked completely defeated after the Wolves loss. Just when you thought they'd done it, they were going to get a draw against the Spirit. I think Ian's having a moment.
I'm gearing up for my Steve Bruce comments.
Oh, okay. Just when you thought they were going to do it, they end up conceding that goal to Jimenez, and it all goes Pete Tong. If you look at their schedule, after this match, they've got to play Man United, Spurs, Leicester, and Man City. And my counterpart, who's currently having a bit of a zen moment as he prepares to talk about Steve, pointed out to me the other day that they do like to play the big sides, but there is no way in hell they pick up enough points against the big sides when Watford are playing teams like Southampton and Burnley. They need to win this game, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, but they are. 3-1 to Bournemouth.
Are you mad? Are you quite mad? Backing Bournemouth once again when they're coming up against not only one of the greatest sides in the Premiership, but the greatest manager in the history of the Premier League. Look at the job he's done. You name me another manager that could do a better job in this Newcastle United squad. Rafa Benitez? I do not think so. He absolutely smashed Sheffield United, proved that they are an overrated team. Then he gets a good draw against Aston Villa. It was a rare Martin Dubravka mistake, but we'll forgive him for that. We know that Villa like to cheat and not play by the rules, as seen in the Sheffield United game, so it's credible to come away with a 1-1 draw in that one. And I just cannot believe what you're saying. You're talking about Bournemouth's run-in. This is the hardest game they've got. What are you fucking talking about? Look at the majesty of the man on the screen. Look at the majesty of Steve Bruce. He is the second coming of Kevin Keegan.
I will love it if we beat
He's
them.
even got goals out of Dwight Gale. I mean, wow. And even Joel Linton scored. So props to Jolie boy. Bournemouth going down. AFC Bournemouth 0. Newcastle 3.
Off camera, I have to back my team.
Newcastle fans, has Steve Bruce won you over? There's still Newcastle fans that do not like him. I'd like to know why, because surely he must accept he's done a good job this year.
I don't know, because we're in the pot.
I said Newcastle fans.
No, but do you not think that this
Newcastle fan?
What he's going to end up being like a Roy Hodgson, isn't he? He's going to do a good job pretty much everywhere he goes to a certain extent and be dogged by his reputation early on. He's doing a great job at Newcastle.
Are you saying he's going to be the England manager?
Yes. Yes. That's not an achievement, Ian. It's purgatory. It's where we send managers when they're not good enough. Everton to host Leicester City.
This should actually be a pretty good game. I actually, usually we're quite derogatory towards Everton, but they've been pretty good since the break. A very creditable draw against Liverpool, although not in the most exciting game. But a lot of people wouldn't have given Everton a chance in that one, and they could have even won it. Well, yeah, me and you, for example. And they nearly even won it at the end. Only the second time a side's drawn against Liverpool this season, the other being
Man United.
Well done, Tom. But they look in pretty decent form. They scraped past Norwich, but they look quite solid. Obviously, they've got Ancelotti's a class act as a manager, and he's got this team playing well. They'd like to get Calvert-Lewin back into the goals because he was the real catalyst towards them doing so well before the break. But other than that, they look really just a solid team. Nothing really too spectacular about them, but I think they'll be hard to beat. And Leicester aren't in good form, and I think Everton might win this game. Whenever I back against Leicester, I'm just going to tell you, they always come out and thrash a side. So I expect Leicester to win this one, so I'm backing Everton 2-1.
So I've watched both of Everton's matches since they got back, and I'm starting to be worried for this side. I think you were the one who pointed out it was 1 win in 5 coming into the break.
Now it's 1 win in 5.
Now,
yeah,
a 1 win in 3 going into the break. But their form since Christmas has been nosediving, and it's not poor performances even. It's just not winning games. And they have the Premier League's top scorer in Jamie Vardy, but they're having a really hard time getting him the ball in areas where he can score because defenses are finally sitting back on him, or they're overloading the numbers in the midfield and they can't get the ball to him. And when Jamie Vardy doesn't get the ball, Leicester don't win. He at least needs to be involved in the play for them to win games. Took a Ben Chilwell stunner in the first match for a 1-1 draw, which they conceded in the 95th minute. And yeah, it's a great goal, but if you're a Champions League side, you should not be conceding in the 95th minute.
And also, they relied on Schmeichel to save a penalty. Otherwise, they probably would have lost that game to Brighton.
The last match, they should have lost. They offered so little going forward. I was really surprised. Damari Gray started. I was like, this is a really positive team. I've been saying to do it. But they just didn't seem to have the running in them. And I think that they're going to have a hard time coming to the end of the season. It's hot, they're tired, and they don't seem to have a second style of play. They don't seem to be able to possess the ball as well. They have been working on that. That's something Brendan Rodgers has changed about this Leicester side since he came in. They're actually good with the ball. But they don't quite have that player. They don't have a Mahrez or someone to unlock a defense when they can't get through. Harvey Barnes is off the boil. Damari Gray seems to be flavor of the month 1 month and just out of the team the next. They need someone to be able to hit those through balls or those crosses to get those goals, and they need to get Jamie Vardy more involved. I love Ancelotti. He's a great manager. He's an established manager. And as much as Everton's a dumpster fire, I respect the fact that they're continuing to push through with this idea of we're a big club, we're putting money into the team, and we are going to move in an upward trajectory. And they have the sort of manager now that come this summer, if they have money again, they're going to get a lot bigger players in than they ever could before. Because no one cares about Marco Silva. Everyone cares about Carlo Ancelotti. He's won everything everywhere. He has like 4 Champions League winner medals. Like, the gravitas that he brings to this team and what he's doing with them cannot be understated. Just having somebody like that. So I'm going to go for an Everton win as well.
And he's a good sport. You know, when he's at Bayern Munich, they do the photos at the start. He's all dressed in lederhosens. I expect the Everton team photo this year will be in a shell suit. It's all good.
Actually, Ian, I'm going to be honest. I think it's going to be a draw. I know Leicester won the corresponding fixture 2-1. I think it's going to be 1-1.
Time for a London derby. West Ham United versus Chelsea.
So, Ian, we have actually no clue what sort of form Chelsea are coming into this on. So I'm going to talk about the one game we did get to see. Captain America, Christian Pulisic, inspiring a Chelsea victory. Oh my goodness, isn't it great to have him back? Chelsea were valued for money against Villa 2-1. They did concede, and like Frank Lampard said, they've been doing this themselves all season. They play good football for 40 minutes, concede a goal, and then it's an uphill battle for the rest of the match. But it's one they overcame, and it's one they overcame by playing a really key player they refused to start in matches. His name is Olivier Giroud. Remember him? He has a World Cup winner's medal around his neck as the starting striker for France. Yeah, that bloke. He's freaking great for Chelsea, and when they let him in the team and surround him with all the speed in the world, they are fantastic. I highlighted Mason Mount in the last video. He's been nothing short of superb. He's genuinely looking really good for them. And like we said, they've got Hudson-Odoi back. They've got Christian Pulisic back. They've got Tammy Abraham back. Tammy Abraham, who remember, was leading Premiership scoring charts for freaking ages before his injury. They're going to be way too strong for a West Ham side that looked completely at sea. They were pathetic in their last match. I don't know why I forced myself to watch them play Spurs because they offered so little. West Ham did win the corresponding fixture 1-0. I don't think that's happening again. I'm going for a Chelsea 3-0 victory.
Yes, you have to go with a Chelsea win in this one, don't you? I mean, West Ham have come back and it's 2 defeats in pretty similar circumstances, you would say. Yeah, they played 2 good sides in Wolves and Spurs, but they ended up losing it and they need points. They We talk about how they've got good players and they're a good side, but they're not showing it right now. You're absolutely right. We talked about Antonio shouldn't be the guy who's up front for them. I don't know when Sebastian Haller is going to be back. He may not be back for a while, but why are you not playing Felipe Anderson? Why are you not playing Yarmolenko?
He talked up Felipe Anderson pre-match and then doesn't start him. I don't know if he's tired, but
you got this kid called Fornells, right? And yeah, he's missed. I feel a bit sorry for him because he's being really highlighted for missing a couple of chances when the games were 0-0. But he's so isolated up front. I feel really, really sorry for him. Like he's kind of up there to try and help Antonio, and literally the service he's getting, they are literally just smacking 30-yard balls up to him. He's up against centre backs. It's amazing he's able to win anything. So I don't see what the game plan is from David Moyes at the moment, and it's really, I'll be really worried if you're a West Ham fan, because you've been in this situation before where it's been, oh, we're too good to go down, and you end up going down, and it is starting to get a bit crunch time for you, and you've got to turn this form around. You're not going to do it against Chelsea. I think it's going to be another 2-0 defeat for West Ham. 2-0 Chelsea.
Tottenham Hotspur versus Sheffield United.
Well, Tom, the big question is, have Sheffield United been found out? You will answer that question, because I'm here to talk about Spurs, who look a much better side now from the break. I think it's almost like Mourinho's treated this off period as a little bit of a pre-season for him, and it looks like he's got the players playing in the way he wants them to play, which is very organised, effective and functional rather than being anything brilliant. They've got the players that can win any game. They've won the game against West Ham, probably at the Mourinho's favourite scoreline ever, 2-0. When you get 2-0 up, don't worry about putting any more goals on the score. Let's just protect that nil. That's all you need to do. Wonderful to see Harry Kane scoring again. He showed a really good turn of pace to score that goal. And he actually said, didn't he, that he didn't know how to celebrate. That's why he just sort of collapsed to the ground and stayed there, as if it's like, that's it. I had my time on this.
I'm out.
This mortal coil. But it's tough times at Sheffield United. They don't look that good, and I know you're going to talk about a lot of factors around that. So I don't expect to see Chris Wilder celebrating like this at the end of the game. I expect to see Mourinho celebrating, because I think it's going to be another comfortable Spurs win, and I think they're going to win 2-0.
Yeah, so I've now watched all of Sheffield's matches back, and I am not particularly enthralled with what
Sheffield, because Sheffield Wednesday are playing as well.
Ian, are you just going to keep doing this? You're just going to keep bullying me?
Sheffield United.
There's only one Sheffield in the Premier League. We're doing Premier League predictions. Which Sheffield do you think is playing?
How hard is it to say Sheffield United? This is like when you call Man United United.
Does it? You know who I'm talking about.
Sheffield United, please. Or the Blades. Or Chris Wilder's band of merry misfits.
Chris Wilder's band of merry misfits have not looked good, and they were really hamstrung against United because of Egan's red card in their second match of the season, and they're not looking good. So they've lost to Newcastle 3-0, they've lost to United 3-0, and they were robbed against Villa in a 0-0. At one point, they're in touching distance of the Champions League places. Now they've fallen down to 8th. They're only, 4 points above Arsenal. I mean, that is a damning indictment of a club if I ever heard it. But again, we highlighted this in the original bonus round video. Their back four being solid is really important to this team. With Egan out, that really hurt them against Man United. But I also think that the sub rule, it hurts them because they don't have a huge amount of depth at this club. And also, their grinding play just isn't working right now. Grinding a team down in 30-degree temperatures requires you to be significantly fitter than the other team. And it's an absolute slog to keep throwing your body on the line to try and stop a team that is significantly quicker and better with the ball than you. In the winter, in January, in a pouring rain match where you're sludging through mud, smashing Paul Pogba to the floor over and over again has more of an effect than in this weather when he just passes it off every time you get near him. And United did that. They possessed the ball. All they did was move the ball left, right, forward, backward, left, right. It wasn't phenomenal play by Man United, but it forced this Sheffield United team to just chase and chase and chase. And they don't have the players to unlock a defense. I'm not saying they're found out in any way, but they're going to have a really tough end to the year, I think. It's going to be a real dogged fight for them to stay in the top 10. They're not going to get close to getting relegated, but I don't think they're in with a chance of Europe anymore. I think they're going to kind of slide down a little bit. and kind of solidify as a 12th place side in the league is where I'd put them at this point. Spurs to win 3-0.
So there you go, Sheffield fans. You're basically fucked unless there's an eclipse. It's the title decider, possibly. Manchester City versus Liverpool.
So obviously we don't know if Chelsea have taken a point off Man City, which I believe guarantees Liverpool the title. Both of us bet against that happening. The City side have looked really good since the restart. And I am going to back them against Liverpool. Irregardless of whether Liverpool can win the title here or not, this City side looks significantly better than before the break. They're not conceding goals willy-nilly. I think they've won both their matches 3-0, and they've looked quite a good side. We knew City were a good side, and we know Liverpool are imperious. But there's something about Liverpool knowing they're going to win the title that just makes me wonder how much they're going to battle a team like City. And both of these sides play heavy possession-based football. And I know what you're going to say, Liverpool fans. You guys have been a mental season. You're battling. You can close them down. I think City are better at possessing the ball than you. I just do. I'm not saying they're a better footballing side, but they're better at possessing the ball, which is going to cause Liverpool to run themselves absolutely ragged trying to close them down. I don't think they're going to win here. I think City are going to win. I think City are going to win 2-1.
No, I'm having Liverpool to win this one. I actually think Liverpool are better than Manchester City. Obviously the league title, the league table says that, but I just think they are. I think they've been excellent side for 2 years now. They had a little bit of a sticky patch, and that carried on after the break with that 0-0 draw against Everton, but they absolutely went out and asserted their dominance over Palace. A 4-0 win, could have been anywhere. Could have been 6, 7, 8, wouldn't have flattered Liverpool at all. And I think that was a show of real, we're not just going to limp to this title. We're going to absolutely go out and storm it. There's a reason why we're 20 points ahead, and we're going to show the rest of the league. And I think they're going to want to do it in style, put down a big statement against Man City. It might not even be a game that they need to win the title. They might have already won it because Chelsea are a very unpredictable team. But the game against the goals they scored against Palace just showed what a talented side they are. Fantastic free kick from Arnold. The strikers obviously contributed. And then the goal from Fabinho. What a strike. I know Palace have stood off him and let him, but he's absolutely just rocketed that into the back of the net. And it's just a powerful Liverpool side that have caused City problems in the past. And I think they're going to cause them a lot of problems again. I'm going reverse of your score. I think it'll be 2-1 Liverpool.
Fair. Honestly, if Liverpool have already won the title, I think my prediction comes a lot closer because, would you not be out partying?
I don't know. I really think there's a lot of just hearing the players, and I know it's players talk, but just hearing them, it seems like they really want to win this City game. And it's time for the main event.
Brighton and Hove and Albion hosting Manchester United.
Well, I can't hide the fact that Manchester United have been sensational, but this has to be their toughest test, coming up against three sides in Brighton, Hove and Albion. And here to tell you more about it is resident expert Manchester United fan Thomas Pickens.
I'm going to bring the Man United fanboy out in me. Oh my God, we have Fernandes and Pogba in the same team and they look freaking awesome.
You deserve it. You deserve it. Go nuts. Just don't talk
it's
about
so
the
good to watch. They absolutely dominated Sheffield United with Pogba sitting a bit deeper in the hole, Fernandes a bit more up front. We both know that Pogba is pretty much an all-round player, and that allows him to play a little bit deeper and control the match, whereas Fernandes is more of that match winner opening a defense, and they looked imperious. Let's not even discount that insane Pogba dribble where he goes past four people before Martial literally steals the ball off his foot to try and score. Martial, sit down, quiet, shh, big boy's talking now. It was absolutely awesome. Oh my God. Best Man United performance I've seen in a long time. And to dominate a Sheffield United side that works so hard to win the ball back no matter who's on the pitch and play as hard as they do. It was the first time you looked at this Man United side and thought, next season they're going to be good. Such a great forward line, Rashford, Greenwood and Martial. And Greenwood didn't even do anything, but he didn't need to because Rashford and Martial were so good. Rashford missed 2 gilt-edged chances, including a tap-in when the goalkeeper wasn't there and a superb Paul Pogba chip that he chips from 4 foot away, and it manages at speed to go up and drop right back down on his boot, and he just misses it. De Gea looked good. Not that he had to make a huge amount of saves, so maybe Roy Keane will shut up about that. Harry Maguire looked a bit more assured in defence. Brighton have been good in the restart, really good. I think they've probably just about gotten themselves clear, but they're not going to win this game. Man United 3, Brighton, Hove and Albion 0.
Just calm down a little bit. You did beat Sheffield United, and we've already discussed that they can't play in the sunshine. So it was pretty much a walkover in that game. Look, there's not too much to say about Brighton. They have been excellent. They look so well drilled. I mean, we probably unfairly, we talk about, they haven't changed much since Potter's come in. But he has done a really good job. Them just staying in the Premier League is still a big achievement. They could have even beat Leicester if it wasn't for Neil Maupay missing a penalty. I'm surprised he didn't go and injure Schmeichel like he did to Leno. But just all over the pitch is a side that looks like they all know their jobs. They look well drilled. I don't think it'll be easy for Man United, but it's weird because I can see Man United winning 3-0, but I just think it'll be like they'll have to work for the goals, and maybe they'll just get a couple at the end. Because it's coming. It's a work in progress for Potter. He signed a long-term contract. Let's see if they can improve next season, because I do think they're safe. They haven't lost in a while, and they are always good at picking up the odd draw here and there. I'm going to match your score, and I hate to do it because we're supposed to disagree, but I think it's going to be Brighton 0, Man United 3.
Anyway, everybody, that is, in fact, that is all the games covered as much as we possibly could. The only thing left to do is to thank those of you that have commented on our videos. Unfortunately, I can't check everyone who likes them, but if I could, I'd comment on that. I'd also comment on the people that don't like it. Fuck off. I'd like to thank Brian Ivan for commenting. Darren Warburton, well done. Results every week. Very biased opinions. You always comment, and it's so good to have you here. Shane O'Donnell, every week, mate. Every week.
And that's the boss, Shane O'Donnell.
Mikolaj BBB, genuinely love the fact that you enjoy our channel. Love having you on here. Thank you for always commenting. Kieran Marshall, some really good predictions out there. We are all confused at how Brighton have started this well. Robert Allen, always good to see you. Thank you for all the comments every week. Roberto Hollis, some really good predictions. Unfortunately, you can't always win them. Robert Allen has commented twice, so I don't know why. Chris, some dick called Chris Smith that doesn't like the way I put teams out. Chris Smith, fuck off.
Good on you, Chris Smith. It was a terrible title by Tom.
All that's left to say is thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.